Let's just make sure everything's up. There we go. Looks like we're happening. Looks like we're hip and happening. Let's make sure the chat's okay. Oh, hi Lucy. How are you? Let's just make sure the chat is okay on YouTube because it's been finicky this morning. Hi Lucy. Hi, you want to stay? No? Okay. You want to stay on my lap? No? All right. Oh, good. We're here. Sweet. What's up, everybody? I hope everyone is doing fantastically amazing, right? Happy Wednesday. We're a little bit later because I had a late evening last night and was doing a lot of different things. And I forgot to do something today. Let's see if I can do it live. Let's see. Hopefully I can. All right. Boom. Ah, cool. Looks like I can. Awesome. All right. This is what I wanted to share. What's up, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever is going on where you're at. I hope it's amazing. I hope all your dreams have come true. Like literally all of them. Do you have a dream? Is it true? I hope so. I have a feeling there's a lot of people who their dreams aren't quite being realized yet. Because maybe their dream is, I don't want to live under martial law and amidst a pandemic as well. Or, I want to see an end to the systemic murder of Black people at the hands of police. Maybe that's your dream. That's a great dream. And that dream has not been realized yet, sadly. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy time. Boy, happy Wednesday. But I got some interesting stuff today, and some of it is actually we got some kind of uplifting things a little bit as well. And hopefully we'll get to all that. But first off, let me thank the people who make this show possible. Our friends at ZT.com, ZHITEA.com. They supply the tea to this show. And it's run by a great lefty named Jeffrey. He's a great dude. Please support his shop, ZT.com. You can order stuff wholesale. And hopefully Ron gets a tea. There's the Vigilante. Graham Elwood got a tea. There's no Ron Placone tea yet. But here's hoping. I don't know. But ZT.com. Make sure you order some tea. Also, our friends over at Trendiest Dabbers, thank you for the CBD pain oil and the swag. It has done wonders. My neck feels great right now. It really does. And my neck usually doesn't feel outstanding. And it's been that way for, I guess, 7 years now since my car accident in 2013. But that CBD pain oil has been the only effective thing for it. So that's groovy. Thank you for that. And, of course, Civvy App, CIVVY app.com. So this is a new app that compiles civic information for you. It kind of lets you know what the issues are, how those issues affect you. And this is a good summary to have, especially right now. Because for instance, there's so much going on in the world, but there's also a facial recognition bill going on right now. And there's just so much going on in regards to protests and police brutality. And, but, a lot of these bills that are out there, they affect all this because this facial recognition bill is going to allow police to racially profile even more. And we're going to get to that in a second. So this app kind of helps sift all that and helps people to decide the best course of action in their lives. And it also tells you which candidates and nominees are most aligned with how you see the world. And it hopes to be a hub for independent news and media. They have no political bias. So check that out. Civvy App, CIVVY app.com. Check it out. See what you think. All right. What's up? Hope everyone is well. Eliot Engel over in New York. He has a primary opponent, and that's the only reason he cares, apparently. Here's something. Here's a video taken recently. Now I'm grabbing this from Alexis Edelstein, which cordial shout out to Alexis. Unfortunately, Alexis has a very weird record over at Get Your News On with Ron. Alexis has the record for the shortest appearance ever on this show. We had Alexis on a little while ago. It was when Graham Elwood was on the show too, and there was a tech issue where we couldn't hear Alexis. It was an unfortunate situation. The way I use StreamYard, and StreamYard can be a little finicky sometimes with phones. When someone's using their phone, results have been very mixed. And Alexis, unfortunately, was having an issue with his laptop when I wanted to have him on the show. So phone was the only option he had. And we were talking ahead of time, and I'm like, gee, phone, it could be hit or miss, but we'll try. And unfortunately, it was a miss. He couldn't hear me at all. I could hear him just fine, but he couldn't hear me no matter what he did. And so it was a very short appearance. We tried 2 different times. Yeah, that's a bummer. But anyway, so hopefully when it is appropriate, we will have him on again. But he shares this. So check this out. Check out this video. This is Democratic Representative Engel here.
And it's just too many folks here. I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. Say that again? I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. Don't do that to me.
He's saying if I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. For anyone who's not sure what he said is if I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. Now let's go to the article about this. So New York Times published a piece about this. So this was at an event at his district with everything that's going on. With Black Lives Matter. And that's what he had to say about it. So here's a report from the New York Times. Engel's hot mic moment. Eliot Engel's hot mic moment. If I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. Mr. Engel, a Democratic congressman from New York, is facing a primary challenge and has been criticized for staying in Washington during the pandemic. He made the remark at an event after returning to the Bronx. Shortly before the news conference began. So this happened on Tuesday at a Bronx news conference about local vandalism. That's the verbiage from the article, local vandalism. More like people are protesting because society has reached its breaking point. That's what's really going on. People are protesting because society has reached its breaking point. And, it's like that famous meme says, people like to say, well, it's unfortunate that a Black person was murdered, but we got to stop this destruction of property and this looting. Let's flip that around. You can find that meme on the internet. It's been circulated everywhere. It's unfortunate that some property got damaged and looting's happening, but we got to stop the systemic murder of Black people by police. That's what we need to stop. That's where the real outrage is. The real outrage should be at the system that keeps murdering unarmed Black people, and the system that has pushed people to the point of desperation where they're looting for things that they need because we're in a pandemic and the government has forgotten its people. That's where the anger should be. So anyway, but shortly before the news conference began, the hot mic was on, and Mr. Engel pressed his case. Now here's what the person told him. This was the Ruben Diaz, who is the Bronx Borough president and organizer of the event, ran through the list of planned speakers to the assembled politicians. And he said to Mr. Engel, I cannot have all the electeds talk because we'll never get out of here. And his response was, if I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. He said that to the person who's in the community organizing this event, trying to be there for the community, trying to be a rock for the community. And he says that. He's been hanging out in Washington, doing whatever. And he says to that person, if I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. Well, guess what? Here's a little something about his primary opponent. He had 2 primary opponents, but the one primary opponent, because they're both progressives, the other primary opponent dropped out to endorse this person. I guess this person was making more strides in the race. So they dropped out and endorsed this person. So now this is the main opponent, Jamal Bowman, or Bowman. I might be mispronouncing the name, but progressive foreign policy, Medicare for all, justice reform, immigrant rights, women's rights, the Green New Deal. Let's look at some of his endorsements. Democracy for America, Working Families, Justice Democrats, New York Progressive Action Network, Food and Water Action, Women for Justice, Community Voices, Sunrise Movement, Council of School Supervisors, Another Sunrise Movement, both nationally and Sunrise Movement in New York City. North Bronx Racial Justice. The University of Albany Young Democratic Socialist of America. Cynthia Nixon. Zephyr Teach Out. Dr. Rosa Rivera McCutcheon. Tiffany Cabin. Naomi Klein. Jermaine Williams. All right, I'm not going to read like every single thing, but you guys get the idea. So that's his primary opponent. That's Engel's primary opponent. Jamal Bowman. And I have a feeling Jamal Bowman does care about the district. I have a feeling he does care about the district. Hot mic moment. Gotta love those hot mic moments. So this is a little breaking. And shout out to Alexis for sharing that. And we will have Alexis on the show when it is appropriate. Now, this is something that's breaking. And here's kind of a good summary from Media Justice that I want to share with y'all. So thread, people power has slowed AB 2261 and people can stop it for good. Tell the officials and stop LAPD spying to call to action to protect Black communities from AB 2261's high-tech surveillance by voting no now. So this is at Media Justice on Twitter. Please do follow them and click this link and act now. Now, we did talk about AB 2261 before on this show. A quick refresher. We can just kind of go straight to this thing. Update on, all right, so here's what goes on with this. Californians need housing. Big tech is attempting to exploit the COVID crisis to profit off of the surveillance of workers in Black and brown community. Please vote no on AB 2261. Facial recognition tech is a license to racially profile. Please vote no on AB 2261. So AB 2261 is a surveillance bill that goes way too far. And keep in mind, we have talked about what happens with these surveillance bills. First of all, they get wrong matches most of the time anyway, and they are particularly wrong when it comes to Black and brown people and all people of color. When it comes to minorities, they are wrong the most often. And they're wrong up to 98% of the time. Up to 98% of the time. That's when it's wrong. So this facial recognition tech, it does nothing to keep anyone safer. It does not help in quote unquote catching a bad guy. All it does is it creates databases that are vulnerable to hacking. So imagine all that getting in the wrong hands. And it allows people to overpolice and brutalize communities, especially Black communities and communities of color, especially those communities. So stop LAPD spying. You can go and follow them and you can take a stand. And this is happening right now. This is happening right now. This bill is going on right now. So people have organized, and that stalled the bill. The organization of people stalled this bill initially. But now it's there's a vote happening as we speak. So go follow Media Justice on Twitter. Stop LAPD spying on Twitter. Tweet at these representatives. Call. Here, we'll go to the link too. Let me just grab the link and pull it up. So this is a link from Media Justice directly. Tell the California Appropriations Committee surveillance cannot heal COVID-19. Facial recognition cannot solve a public health crisis. I want to repeat that. Facial recognition cannot help solve a public health crisis. Of the many things Californians need to heal from the COVID crisis, it's not more surveillance. Yet, Bill AB 2261 is on its way to the California Appropriations Committee, threatening to usher in racist, oppressive mass surveillance measures that will only exacerbate, not heal the crisis. Committee Chair Gonzalez and Vice Chair Bigelow have the power to stop this bill, protecting workers and communities of color from the surveillance state during a time when these same communities battle to survive the racial, gender, and socioeconomic inequities, the pandemic has exposed. We already know the history of surveillance technology's roots in a racist past. That's what we were just talking about, and an over-policed present. But new reports of essential workers being surveilled by tech giant Amazon as punishment for using their right to organize are chilling. And this is not something we can allow to spread. Assemblymember Chow introduced AB 2261 in response to the COVID-19 crisis, but there's no healing or relief to be found in mass surveillance legislation. Authorizing facial recognition as a pandemic response invites the creation of virtual blacklists that exclude people from their jobs, essential resources and services, and even healthcare. So follow Media Justice. Please lend your signature to this. Please tweet and call your representatives, because this cannot go forward. All right. Let's see what else we have here. So, I attended... I'll talk real quick about a protest I attended yesterday. I attended a protest in Pasadena, California, where I live, and it was 110% peaceful. Like it was completely peaceful. There was no, and guess what? There weren't any cops there. I mean, there were cops further down the road, and they were just standing, and there was no riot gear. There was no, it was just the community there. It was sponsored by the NAACP and a couple faith-based organizations as well. And it was a completely peaceful event. Just a completely peaceful event. And some folks spoke, and there were some really good speakers. Some people, there was a pastor who spoke, there was a representative from the NAACP who spoke, and some politicians spoke. At one point, the Pasadena mayor referred to the event as a parade, which was not good. I mean, I'm trying not to be too, because I'm glad that local elected officials showed up to this thing and spoke. I'm glad that happened. But, don't call it a parade. In fact, here, let me show you that video. I'll show you that. I have some footage from the event. I don't want to spend too much time on it because, it's one of those things, but I will show you. I will show you the mayor. Here, hold up. All right. No, that's not the link I want. Let me find the link that I want. I think it's this one. And then I'll show it to you.
I'm Ted Cruz.
Oh, there's a Ted Cruz ad before this. This is an unlisted video I have, but we get a Ted Cruz ad. All right, so there's Ted. There's Ted. Ted Cruz has a message.
My friend Senator Steve Daines.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. All right, I don't.
I'm really excited that you come here to your house to make your voices heard.
So this is Pasadena Mayor Terry Tornick.
This parade.
He called it a parade.
This automobile parade that
it's a protest, Terry.
That's me saying it's a protest, Terry.
It was really an unbelievable experience. And the signs that we see here tonight are really things that touch my heart. And the one that really struck me the most is not the one that's been referenced so far.
And they're yelling to defund the police. Now, in fairness, to be fair, when he was saying parade, he may have been referring. So the way this protest started was it started as a bunch of cars parading to City Hall. So that may have been what he meant. But still a poor choice of words. If you're going to describe it that way, say, hey, I participated in the car parade that came to the protest or something. Don't. And later, there were a couple other speakers who did take the time to say, first of all, someone actually called them out and was like, hey, I appreciate you elected officials being here, but by the way, this is the first time you showed up. Somebody called that out, which I was like, good for that person. And then someone also went out of their way to say, by the way, this isn't a parade. We're not celebrating. So very poor form there. Not the best choice of words. A poor move there. But nonetheless, a completely 110% peaceful event that I attended yesterday. 110% peaceful. And let's see here. I want to share this. So this is, a lot of people with everything that's going on have been more outspoken. And on all social media, I mean, even me, I seldomly use my personal Facebook profile because I don't like Facebook at all. I don't like, the only one I like is Twitter. Twitter is the only one I actually like. And I guess I like Instagram a little bit because Instagram Live can be a lot of fun. but I'm not good at taking pictures. Like I'm not a very good photographer. So I'm not a big Instagram guy. But Instagram Live can be kind of fun. I did that music set on Instagram Live, and I had a lot of fun with that. We'll be doing another one of those, by the way. But Instagram Live is groovy, so I dig that. And I just said the word groovy, unironically. But anyway, so this is a post from somebody I know from comedy. This is from a comedian named Justin Ruppel. Justin, I don't know Justin terribly well, but we're both doing comedy in Seattle at one point in time. Now, at the time, he was a more established comedian in the scene than I was. He was already working the road and stuff like that when I was a very new, I was in the business, it's called an open micer. That's what it's called when you're, when you're new to the craft and you're mostly just going to open mics. And that's how comedy kind of works. Like you show up at an open mic and you sign up and you do your thing. And at an open mic, you're going to see all kinds of skill levels. You're going to see a lot of people who it's their first time doing comedy ever, and they've never done it before. You're also going to see professional comedians who are at the open mic to work on new material. They have some new material. They don't know if it's funny or not yet. They're still writing it and working it out. And they got to go on stage to test it out. So you're going to see a little bit of everything at an open mic, especially in LA or a place like that. So anyway, so that's why comics that are newer, that are still kind of getting their feet wet and learning, they're referred to as open micers. So Justin was a little more established when I was an open micer. Now an open micer, no, I'm just kidding. I feel like I over-explained it the first time. It'd be kind of funny if I just explained the whole thing again. They're like, fuck, Ron needs to, I think Ron needs to sleep more. His hair is out of control. He needs to get, hairstylists, they are opening back up. Or I think they might have just opened. I think actually today in California, they're opening back up. So I'm going to take care of that at some point if I don't naturally grow a mohawk. If I naturally grow a mohawk, I'm just going to leave it because why not? But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to get the haircut. And my wife has already sent me photos of how she would like my hair to look. So I already have a guide. But this is getting a little out of control, folks. That's why, sometimes I wear these headphones when I don't even need them, just because it's sort of, I didn't do myself any favors by doing that, did I? Just because it's sort of like, but this thing, it just keeps growing up, and I just kind of go, ha! And then that's, anyway. All right, so Justin Ruppel, this happened. I want to share this. I'm going to read this to you. It's probably kind of hard to see. Here's a picture from the incident, and I'm just going to read this to you. This is from Justin, and this is his story. 7 years ago, I witnessed a hate crime on Sunset Boulevard. A white man on a bike kicked a black man walking next to me on the sidewalk. The black man was on his way to work. He was kicked from behind while the biker rode past us. It was 8:42 a.m. I don't know many comedians that wake up at that time. So, breaking news, Justin might be making this up. No, I'm just kidding. The man who was kicked yelled, "Watch where you're going." The white man turned the bike around and came back at the black man at full speed. So this white guy starts charging at this black guy with his bike. The black man pulled out a box knife, the kind you use to open cardboard, to defend himself. The white man used the N-word and began assaulting the black man. I tried to stop it, this is Justin speaking, but the two men started fighting, and the white guy got sprayed with Axe body spray and scraped with the knife. The black man kept warning, "I'll have to defend myself. I have a knife." LAPD arrived to see the men fighting. They detained the black man. Justin says, "That's when I lost it. I began asking for badge numbers and pointed at cameras at the In-N-Out. There's the In-N-Out there in the photo that caught the violence. I walked to the white man who was being assisted for his eye burns." So they see a fight take place. They automatically detain the black man and start helping the white man. Just so we're all clear on what's going on. I told the cops he committed a hate crime and I have proof. Luckily, they listened. They let the black man go and arrested the white man. And they took my number, Justin's number, to testify. They helped the black man up and apologized. But Justin says, what if I had not been there? They wouldn't have done the right thing. They profiled, and that nearly cost a man his freedom. I saw it with my own eyes, the systemic racism in our police force. I was ashamed, as we should be. Also, as a comedian, that was the first time I was up before 9:30 or 10. No, I'm just kidding. He goes on to say, luckily, that situation worked out. Many do not. So not just what would have happened had Justin not been there. Not just that, but what would have happened had Justin been there? But what if Justin was black? Justin's a white guy. What if Justin was a black guy? Would they have listened to him? I doubt it. I mean, you never know. Maybe if the guy has the footage and he's like, look here, look at my phone. This is what really happened. I guess maybe there's a chance. But I think there's a really, really good chance if Justin would have been a black guy in that same situation, they just would have told him to shut up, or they might have arrested him too. Let's be real. Let's be real. So that's a bit of a feel-good story that the right thing occurred, that Justin was in a place and saw this and acted. And kudos to Justin. I ran into him in Hollywood like a couple years ago, but that's the last time. You know, it's one of those things. We're both comics. We're Facebook friends. We knew each other a long time ago in Seattle, and but you know, I'm glad he did that, and I wanted to share this story. But and had he not been there, that black guy would have gotten arrested. The white guy would have been fine, even though it was the white guy who charged the black guy with his bike and started yelling racial slurs at the black guy. And the black guy had to defend himself. Wow. Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that, Justin. And I have a feeling we're going to see more stories like this. You know what I mean? Like, we are going to see more stories like this. And there are a couple other things that I wanted to share today. Oh, yeah, check this out. Where's that other? Is this the thing? Well, here, I want to share something I retweeted here in a second. But Eric Garcetti is taking a knee. Mayor Eric Garcetti takes a knee amid chants of defund police at downtown LA protest. And this person tweets, and justly so. Rightfully so. Of course, Eric Garcetti took a knee. How else was he going to lick the LAPD's boots? And by the way, nothing has been done about Michael Moore. Nothing has been done about Michael Moore. Now, a quick refresher. Michael Moore was the police chief who blamed George Floyd's death on the protesters and doubled down on it. We watched that video on this show. He said straight up, the blood on George Floyd is on your hands, you protesters. And I know that's a strong statement. So he knew what he did. He knew what he did, and he doubled down on it. And here's a message he got from the community. Those of you who were watching Graham Elwood's live stream, you saw this, but I think it's worth sharing again. Here's a message that Michael Moore got from the community.
Thank you. Jeremy Fresh, followed by Juan Ramirez.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Black Lives Matter, defund the police. I find it disgusting that the LAPD is slaughtering peaceful protesters on the street. I had two friends go to the protest in Beverly Hills a couple days ago, and the protest was peaceful. So the police showed up with their excessive violent force, shooting rubber bullets and throwing tear gas. Is this what you think of protecting and serving? Because I think it's bullshit. Fuck you, Michael Moore. I refuse to call you an officer or a chief because you don't deserve those titles. You are a disgrace. Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Thank you, Juan.
And then they said thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy Fresh, followed by by Ron.
I yield my time. So many people are offering to buy this dude a beer, which I'm one of them. This is my ringtone now, by the way. Like I this is my ringtone whenever anybody calls me. Let's do it one more time.
Ramirez?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
He does a sound check. Hey, can you hear me?
From the police. I find it disgusting that the LAPD is slaughtering peaceful protesters on the street. I had two friends go to the protest in Beverly Hills a couple days ago, and the protest was peaceful. So the police showed up with their excessive violent force, shooting rubber bullets and throwing tear gas. Is this what you think of protecting and serving? Because I think it's bullshit. Fuck you, Michael Moore. I refuse to call you an officer or a chief because you don't deserve those titles. You are a disgrace. Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Thank you.
Did I say thank you? Oh, man. And here's what I've been doing, and I'm going to continue to do this. Fire Michael Moore now, and I'm going to at the mayor of LA, Eric Garcetti, until he blocks me. And I'm just going to keep doing that every day, and I'm going to include this video. Michael Moore needs to be fired immediately, not just for his completely tone-deaf speech, but because of how horrible the LAPD has been. How brutal and terrible the LAPD has been. They have run over protesters intentionally. They have used excessive force. Every single report from everybody who attended anything, myself included, everything was totally peaceful until the cops showed up. Last night I was at an event. It was 100% peaceful the whole time. There weren't police there. There were also elected officials there. So there were a number of reasons it was totally peaceful. But there weren't police in riot gear there ready to crack heads. That wasn't present at that protest. And it was 110% peaceful. And across the country, whenever the police have laid down their weapons and listened for a second, it's completely nonviolent. Every single time. In New Jersey where it happened. In Michigan where it happened. In Miami where it happened. And then in Santa Monica, people were on their knees, kneeling in protest, asking the police to kneel with them, and the cops wouldn't do it. Instead, they started cracking heads. So the police chief, Michael Moore, needs to be fired immediately. And Eric Garcetti needs to resign. But let's start somewhere. At least get rid of this police chief. So I'm going to do that every day. I'm going to retweet that video and say fire Michael Moore now. And I'm going to tweet at Mayor of LA, which is Eric Garcetti's Twitter handle. And there have been protests in front of his house as well. So there you go. There you go, folks. All right. Let me see what y'all are saying. That's where we'll go next. And then we'll dismount on this lovely hump day. Jean Swearingen joins the show tomorrow, by the way. I'm excited to talk to her. Let's see what y'all are saying. Andre, what's up? Here's my first super chat contribution to Ron motherfucking Placone. Thank you. Thank you very much, Andre, for that. Melissa, what's up? Good to see you. Thank you very much. Breaking. Chauvin now to be charged with second-degree murder. Other 3 cops to be arrested and charged. Nothing on their charges yet. Love you, Ron. Thank you, Melissa. So that is breaking news. Wow. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Let me Google it real quick. See what's going on. So breaking charges. So let's just see what comes up. Okay, here we go. 3 other all right, here. We'll read this real quick. So this is breaking, like literally it looks like. All right, so this was in Central Time. So this is from just a little bit ago. All right, here, let's check this out real quick before we prosecutors plan to charge a Minneapolis police officer accused of all right, so they're charging second-degree murder. And the first time are leveling charges against 3 other officers. And let me see if there's something about All right. Yeah. So pretty much, Melissa, what you said is all we got so far. It's a second-degree murder charge. They're charging the other 3 cops. But as of the recording of this, as of right now, we don't know what those charges are going to be. That's probably going to change in real time. It might even change before I'm finished with this sentence. But right now, we don't know what those charges are, at least according to everything that I've been able to Google in real time. And we get a fair warning here from Magic Guitar Men. Don't get excited until they swing, which I guess unless that's referring to something else, I think refers to like, let's not get too excited until they actually give a sentence. But this is a step, and fingers are crossed. But this is a step. It went from 3rd degree to 2nd degree. And some of you are saying it's 1st degree murder, and yeah, I mean, it was straight up murder. Like it was straight up murder in cold blood. So it's definitely, I don't know exactly what designates all the degrees, to tell you the truth, like how it's 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. But it's the most severe case of murder. He murdered a guy in cold blood out on the street. The guy was not resisting. The guy was not defending himself. The guy was not doing anything. Oh, okay. 1st degree murder is premeditated. Got it. Thank you, guys. All right. So they're saying it was 2nd degree. So I guess that means it was not premeditated. And so you kneel on a guy for 8 minutes. What's going through your head? How is that not 1st degree murder? But hey, we got to start somewhere. It went from 3rd to 2nd. Yeah, now some of you guys are saying there's no such thing as 3rd degree. That's just manslaughter. Okay, so they tried to. 2nd degree is he intended to murder. And some of you guys are saying it's really hard to prove premeditated murder. Okay, all right. So this is definitely, without a doubt, 2nd. And 1st, I guess it depends on if they want to designate it that way. So I guess to call it 1st, would you have to say he woke up that morning saying, I'm going to murder that dude? Is that what you would need to call it 1st? Is that kind of like, that's what my wife is saying. I'm not an expert in degrees in murder. Is that something, should I feel dumb right now? Is that like, no? You just watch a lot of crime shows. All right, fair enough. Well, whatever. I hope he gets the harshest sentence he can and spends a long time in jail. And by a long time, I mean the rest of his freaking life. I hope he spends the rest of his freaking life in jail. That's what he deserves. Huh? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Let's see. Nizar, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Nizar says Minnesota is one of only 3 states that have 3rd. Yeah, because most of the time they would just call it involuntary manslaughter, right? Like they would just call it. I mean, I think that's typically how that works. But again, I don't know. I'm not fluent in the murder degrees. I don't have a degree in murder degrees, and I'm not hip to the crime shows. My wife is. She watches them, but I don't. Okay, some of you guys get this. Proving premeditation will require research about the time they work together, but that would be real police work. Don't expect it. Premeditated can happen in seconds. Well, so then could it be like if the guy just decided to kneel on this dude, then could they call that premeditated? Like what did he, when the guy's begging for his life, what did he think was going to happen? Well, either way, I hope whatever they're charging this guy, 2nd degree murder, if that's enough to put him in jail for the rest of his life, I'm happy, because that is what he deserves. This man deserves to spend the rest of his life in jail. And those other officers, I don't know what they're going to charge them with exactly. I don't know what we can expect there as far as the law is concerned. I just don't know. But they deserve to be face penalties as well, and severe ones, because they stood there and watched it. They stood there. They didn't just stand there and watch it too. They kept people away. They kept people away, including someone who would say, "Hey, I'm a medical professional. Stop doing this. You're going to kill him." There was someone there. "Hey, I'm a medical professional. Stop it." And they didn't. And they didn't. So anyway, yeah. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it very much. So tomorrow, Paula Jean Swearingen is on the show. She is running for Senate out in West Virginia. And I followed her for a while. She's been at it for a little while. She unfortunately did not overtake Joe Manchin the first time, but she's still running. And we're going to have her on the show to talk about all the stuff she's been up to. And I look forward to that. In the meantime, and that'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. I know we started a little later today. We got one more from Law Trader. Please don't do that thing, YouTube. Yes. Watch the second tape. Tao, the second cop, moved the car to block the security cam. Wow. So that's like being an accessory at the very least, right? It's like you're intentionally helping this guy kill somebody. You're helping this guy kill somebody. Ugh. So thank you, Andre. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Nizar. Thank you, Law Trader, for your super chat contributions. I appreciate it very much. Thank you guys very much. Thank you guys very much for being here, for being part of this stream, for doing what you do. Please stay safe. Please stay, just please stay well. It's a crazy world out there. It really is. And sometimes it's just, you wake up and it's so weird. I've talked about this a little bit on this show and other ones. Like, I don't know about you guys. I have dreams where like I'm just going through a pleasant experience. Like I had a dream the other night that I was just at a restaurant, like just ordering food, just having and there was nothing special about it or not special about it. It was just a regular moment, it was just. And then I woke up to my wife watching things on Twitter and Instagram about police cracking the heads of peaceful protesters. And it's just, we are going through a crazy time right now, and that's putting it gently. And people are getting hurt and brutalized, all for standing up against the systemic murder of Black people by police that has gone on for way too long. And guess what, guys? Reform is not enough. When people say police reform, I'm like, no, that's not enough. That's not far enough. It's too late for that. We can't just reform the police. We have to reinvent what law enforcement is and what it does in this country. We need to completely reinvent it because it's a systemic disease that goes beyond inadequate. I mean, yeah, training is horrible and inadequate, but that is just the iceberg of all the problems. The problems with systemic racism, the problems with very poor screening, the problems with undertraining, the problems with having a job designation that people aren't trained at all for and have no idea to handle the variety of situations they may find themselves in. We need specialized designations. We need to completely reinvent the way police is conducted. And that starts by having civilian oversight. Well, it starts by two things. First of all, heavy civilian oversight and civilian involvement and direction in how we, the people, are policed in our communities. And demilitarization. It starts there. That's just the start. And I know some people are thinking, Ron, that's a really extensive thing you're calling for. That's a crazy, that's so extensive. And you can call me an idealist. You can call me naive. You can call me whatever you want. You know what's being naive? Thinking we can continue the status quo. That's being naive. And I know you're thinking, wow, reinventing law enforcement. That's a paradigm shift that's huge. Yeah, it is. But if not now, when? And hey, guess what? We're still amidst a pandemic. What better time to completely reinvent the concept of law enforcement than a time when people are still largely staying home because of a pandemic? The time is now. The time is now. We can't wait. We can't wait for another brutal execution of an unarmed black person. We can't wait. Demilitarize the police immediately. And don't just reform them, reinvent it. Reinvent it. All right. So, there you have it. Thanks so much for being part of this. We'll be back tomorrow. And in the meantime, please stay safe out there. And you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.